Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as well as hit that notification bell to get all the latest content updates. As well as if you want to make a donation to the channel, cash tag 717SCL is the cash tag link. Week 1 of the 2021 NFL season is now in the books, which saw it start off with a fantastic game between Dallas and Tampa Bay and was capped off by a Monday night classic between Baltimore and Las Vegas. There was plenty of good games as well as some surprising blowouts and dominating performances. So hit the comment section. Let me know your thoughts on your team's performances in week 1 across the league in general. In this video, I'm going to talk about the 3 teams who impressed me the most, as well as the 3 teams that disappointed me the most. And we're going to start off with the 3 teams who impressed me the most, starting at number 3 with the Las Vegas Raiders. On Monday night, the Las Vegas Raiders defeated the Baltimore Ravens 33-27 in an overtime thriller and an all-time Monday Night Football classic. It started off rough for the Raiders as they fell behind 14-0 and was honestly doing some Raider things. As a Raider fan, I would know. But they were doing some Raider things, some costly penalties. Unfortunately, Denzel Good had gotten injured, went down. He's one of our key offensive linemen. He's down for the season now. And it didn't look good. But the Raiders showed valiant effort. They refused to lose. Derek Carr played a phenomenal game. They started off rough. I will say this. I felt like they were trying to force things early by going to Darren Waller a little bit too much. But once they started to open up the playbook and once they started to free up Darren Waller, I felt like the offense really found its stride. But I want to talk more about the Raiders' defense. The Raiders' defense, minus the fact of giving up 27 points, was solid all night. Not to mention they was able to force Baltimore to commit 2 turnovers, which is something the Raiders for years now have been longing for is a defense that not only can get pressure to the quarterback, which they did, but also create turnovers that can change the course of the game. And that's exactly what happened, especially in the final moments of the game when the Raiders themselves had gotten down to the red zone in overtime on a Brian Edwards diving catch for the end zone after fighting for a few extra yards, and that call got overturned and said that he was down on the 1 yard line. Play after that, Alex Leatherwood gets a 6 yard penalty. Play after that, Raiders throw an interception off a tip on ball off the hands of Willie Snead. But the Raiders defense would not be deterred. They go right back out there and force a strip sack fumble on Lamar Jackson, and that's what decided the game. And it was interesting because the Raiders could have kicked a field goal, but after a delay of game penalty, the kicker's not getting lined up right, John Gruden decided, that still might be a little bit too far. So what does he do? He tricks the Ravens defense, sees that they're going all out blitz, and he throws it over the top to Zay Jones for the game winner. So all in all, the Raiders proved that not only can they come from behind, but they can come from behind and win close games. And their defense, most importantly, their defense can win them some games. Something that, once again, I'll reiterate, the Raiders have been longing for a long time. So I was really impressed with the fight of this team. I was really impressed, even though there was times the offense, committed like 8, 9 offensive penalties. They looked out of sync, but they kept fighting and they kept playing. And that's what you need to do to be successful in this league. And if the Raiders can find some consistency on offense, as well as that defense keeps improving, I have no doubt that this team can be a playoff team this year. Now we're going to move on to number 2, and that would be the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles coming into the season obviously had a lot of questions coming in, especially with Jalen Hurts at quarterback. They didn't even know if Jalen Hurts was going to be their starting quarterback. Nick Sirianni, a new rookie coach, came out of nowhere. Nobody really heard his name in the coaching conversations, etc. Now, it is worth to note that the Eagles did play the Atlanta Falcons, another team who's basically in a rebuild and obviously is one of the lowly end teams of the league. But you can't take credit away from the Eagles and the way they dominated this game. Atlanta Atlanta drove the ball on the first drive down with relative ease, and though they didn't score a touchdown, they put points on the board, got 3 points. After that, the Eagles defense was dominant for the entire rest of the game. And that offense that Nick Sirianni has put together to tailor-made Jalen Hurts, I believe that this could take this team to a surprising better finish than what we all expected. That team looks really, really good in this with this offense tailor-made to what Jalen Hurts likes to do. Now, granted, I'll reiterate, this is against the Atlanta Falcons, but it's still the point. This was Nick Sirianni's first head coaching the game. It's his first head coaching game, period. So this is his first game as an NFL head coach. On top of that, this is Jalen Hurts' fifth start overall. So it was a really impressive performance, especially when you have young guys like Devontae Smith, when you have a somewhat questionable receiving core. I really liked what the Philadelphia Eagles did, tailor-made this offense around Jalen Hurts and his specialties, as well as not getting away from what should be their bread and butter, and that's running the ball. If Miles Sanders can stay healthy and the Eagles can keep being consistent and get these other parts around Devontae Smith to be consistent and give them some extra help, the Eagles could be one of these surprise teams that actually come out and get a wild card. I know it's one game and I know it was against the Atlanta Falcons, but they look good. I will be honest. And most importantly, the defense. If that defense can help Jalen Hurts out like that on a consistent basis, they can definitely pull out some games where they're not expected to win. So that was my number two pick for the most impressive week one is the Philadelphia Eagles. And now I'm going to go to my number one most impressive team of week one, and that would be the New Orleans Saints. And the reason why I put the Saints at number one is because it was total domination and obliteration of the Green Bay Packers, what they did. Sean Payton proved why he is a Hall of Fame caliber coach. He proved why he is a Super Bowl winning coach. He tailored this offense basically around Alvin Kamara, while also limiting Jameis Winston's. We see a new Jameis Winston. I mean, I know it's one game, but there was times where Jameis Winston in this game smartly threw the ball away, or maybe tucked in run and got a couple yards, didn't force anything, which is what we've seen a lot in his career in Tampa Bay. He would force a lot of things. And we did not see that Sunday against Green Bay. He was smart. He was calculated. He took what the defense gave him. He did not try to overdo anything. He didn't turn the ball over. That's the most important thing. He did not turn the ball over. And once again, defense. The New Orleans Saints defense, as we know, is one of the best in the league, period. That defense befuddled and frustrated Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers from start to finish. The Green Bay Packers could not get their feet out of the mud. That defense was ferocious all game long. And then you mix that in with the consistency on offense. We're not going to take too many big shots. We don't have to. We're running the ball down their throat with Alvin Kamara. We're getting whatever we want in these swing passes. We're getting whatever we want in the slants. We're getting whatever we want, period. And I really like the fact that Jameis Winston, again, did not force anything. I was really impressed with the New Orleans Saints. You go from having one of the greatest quarterbacks, arguably the greatest quarterback. A lot of people think Drew Brees is the greatest quarterback of all time, minus Tom Brady's 7 Super Bowl championships. For Sean Payton to lose his Hall of Fame quarterback and then come out in the first game of the season against a Green Bay team that is heavily favored to possibly make it to the Super Bowl this year, or at least be again in the contention in the conversation, to come out with Jameis Winston, who everybody wrote off as a bust. Sean Payton's not going to be able to get this thing right with Jameis. He forces things too much. So far, in one game, it looks like Sean Payton might be proving these critics wrong. Because if he can get Jameis Winston to play like this, even when they open up the playbook and they do start taking more shots down the field, if they can get Jameis Winston to take what the defense gives him and not force nothing extra, this team could be right back in the conversation as well in the playoffs in the Super Bowl. As long as that defense stays healthy and is intact and the offense stays consistent, like the way they played on Sunday, the Saints will be right back in the playoffs. It was a tremendous performance by the New Orleans Saints. A tremendous performance. But now we're going to move on to my three teams that I was most unimpressed by. And I'm going to start off with number three, and that would be the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills obviously came into the season with high hopes out of the AFC to possibly beat Kansas City, be the team that can beat Kansas City and get over the hump and get back to the Super Bowl. The team I saw on Sunday, especially from the offensive side, now the defense looked pretty good. It looked better even before. They did make some adjustments this offseason. They made some tweaks to the defense. The defense wasn't the problem for me on Sunday. It was the offense. Josh Allen looked like the Josh Allen of old. And it's so funny because when he signed that big contract, a lot of football fans in general were saying, oh, he's going to get this money. They gave him all this money based off one season, off one great season. And it's so funny because in his first game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, Josh Allen looked like the guy who was inaccurate, looked lethargic, looked like, okay, he has the arm talent, but you don't know what you're going to get out of him. That's exactly what Josh Allen looked like on Sunday. He was out of sync. He wasn't in rhythm. And don't get me wrong, the Pittsburgh Steelers have a really, really good defense. But with the expectation in that contract, you're supposed to come out and play better than that. And to me, I just felt like the Buffalo Bills offense just was not in it. As well as I also would think this is going to hurt the Bills in the long run is not having a potent rushing attack. They do not have a running game whatsoever. And I think teams obviously that weren't prepared, for the chemistry that Diggs and Allen created last year, which opened up, the playbook and opened up that offense so much for Buffalo. I think that now that teams have tape on how to shut some of those pass plays down, it's going to make it even harder for Buffalo to even use their bread and butter and take shots down the field deep when you can't even run the ball. They still have so much uncertainty at running back. They don't know. Devin Singletary doesn't look like he to be the answer. Zach Moss doesn't look like he's the answer. So the Buffalo Bills to me is my third most unimpressed, most disappointing team for me in Week 1, especially from the offensive side of the ball. Now I'm going to go to my number 2 team, and that would be the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns lost to the Kansas City Chiefs 29-33 on Sunday. And the reason why I put Cleveland at the number 2 spot is because Cleveland, from the outset, was in control of this game. They led at halftime by 12 points. They were up 22-10. And it's worth to note that in the second half, after scoring 22 points in the first half, they only scored 7 points in the second half. I feel like Cleveland got comfortable. They took their foot off the gas. And as everybody knows, you cannot do that against the Kansas City Chiefs. That is the one team you do not do that and take your foot off the gas, especially if you're in a rhythm and you have them on the ropes and your offense is clicking, you keep your foot on the gas. And I feel like that's what the Cleveland Browns did. They took their foot off the gas pedal. Not to mention the mistake of the bad snap on, the punt. You have to be better. You have to be more. The communication between your long snapper and punter has to just be better than that, especially in this type of game. This is the type of game that if you're Cleveland, if you win this game, now people are really looking at you like, okay, maybe you can beat the Kansas Cities. Maybe you can beat the Buffalo Bills or the Tennessee Titans of the world. But when you make costly mistakes, inexperienced mistakes like botching that punt, as well as letting Kansas City get back in the game by taking your foot off the gas pedal offensively, it kind of showed that maybe Cleveland just ain't that team that everybody thinks they are. And it's also worth to note Odell Beckham did not play in this game. I am really interested to see how this offense will look once he gets back, because me personally, I think the Browns will be better off without him. When you're putting up 29 points without Odell Beckham in the lineup, when you're putting up close to 30 points without him in the lineup, that tells me you really don't need him. Not even that you just don't need him. I just don't think he fits in this system. But that's my opinion. It's just one game. Maybe the Browns will get it together. But from what I saw on Sunday, that I was really unimpressed with just the you know this is the one team you don't if you have a lead on them, you keep that lead. Especially if your offense is in a rhythm. Why would you stop running the ball with consistency? You have a 12-point lead. Run the ball down their throat. Eat up clock. Keep Mahomes on the sideline. So that's why I put Cleveland Browns as the number 2 most disappointing team for me in this week 1 season so far. I mean, you just don't make mental mistakes like that. You just don't. And now I'm going to move on to my number 1 disappointing team in the NFL week 1. And that would be the Green Bay Packers. And the reason why I put the Green Bay Packers at number 1 is because of all the offseason shenanigans with Aaron Rodgers not wanting to report to camp because, being unhappy with the front office, etc., etc. Okay, so they give him what he wants. He even gets Randall Cobb back. Obviously, that's Randall Cobb is like maybe you can say a solid true number 2 wide receiver. So they give Aaron Rodgers everything he wants, and the Green Bay Packers come out and put up 3 points against a New Orleans Saints team without Drew Brees that has Jameis Winston as their quarterback. I'm not saying Jameis Winston is a bad quarterback. I think if Sean Payton can, like I said earlier, can keep having him go into the trajectory of keeping it clean and not turning the ball over and not forcing things, I think Jameis Winston can live up to that number 1 overall potential that he was drafted with back in the day. However, the Green Bay Packers, they just look like Aaron Rodgers looked like he missed camp. He looked like this team looked like especially offensively, they had no chemistry whatsoever. They had no chemistry. They looked like they were jet lagged something. Something was wrong. Everybody was off kiltered, off pace. And then it's just like once they got down, they stayed down. They looked so unmotivated to even try to make a push. It's like once they knew they were losing, it was just like, oh, okay, pack it in, guys. And with, like I said, with all the offseason shenanigans by Rodgers, for him to come out and play like that, and the rest of the team to play like that, it was just really, really disappointing. It was really, really disappointing. Because I'm sorry, you shouldn't be losing to this team. You shouldn't. I mean, yes, they still have pieces, but they're down Michael Thomas. They don't have Drew Brees anymore. Like, this defense is really good, but to get carved up by that offense the way they did, and it's also worth to note, Green Bay's defense, they're still that run defense is still terrible. It's still terrible. It's horrifying. Alvin Kamara was having a picnic on the ground, as well as their backup Jones Jr. was having a picnic on the ground. The Green Bay Packers' run defense looked non-existent. Their defense in general looked non-existent. So, with all the offseason shenanigans and all the drama, etc., for the Green Bay Packers and most importantly Aaron Rodgers to come out looking like that, that's why I put the Green Bay Packers as my number 1 most disappointing team of week 1. Because all the anticipation of, okay, Rodgers got Cobb back. He's got everything he wanted. Let's see how the Packers look. And they looked horrible. They flat out looked horrible. And there's just nothing else to call that performance. That was disgusting. Now, it's only one game. And this is Aaron Rodgers we're talking about, the reigning MVP, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So, I have no doubt that he will get it together. But they have bigger problems, especially in that run defense. They need to figure some things out. But that's my 3 disappointing teams of NFL Week 1. I want you guys to hit the comment section and let me know what you guys think. Who was your 3 most impressive teams, or who was the team you were most impressed with in Week 1? And who was the most disappointing team or teams in Week 1 to you? Hit the comment section. I want to know what you guys think. And I want to know what you guys think about week one in general across the league. Is there any certain players that stood out to you? Any certain teams that stood out to you? Once again, hit the comment section and let me know what you guys think. And we are going to get out of here for today, guys. Once again, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, as well as hit that notification bell icon so you get all the latest content update. As well as if you want to make a donation to the channel, hashtag 717SCL is the donation link. It's 717 Sports Chat Live. I'm your host, Marcus J. Everybody have a blessed evening. I'm out for the night, guys. Thank you for watching.